Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Los Angeles Public Library's Facebook and YouTube live channel. I'm Katie, here, librarian here at Los Angeles Public Library. First, I want to say thank you to the Library Foundation for making this program possible. So today we have another great program for teens. This time it's about historically Black colleges and universities, aka HBCUs. So before we get started, I just want to plug the library's site for students applying to college. It's our Get Ready for College site. I put the banner up below. You can find all sorts of information and resources there, including free test prep, workshops on paying for college, essay writing, and more. Everything is free, so I encourage you to check it out. We'll also put that link in the comments. So on to today's program. So are you starting the process of figuring out where you want to go to college? Or maybe you've heard of HBCUs, but you don't really know what they are or why they might be a good option for you. So in today's panel, you will learn all about HBCUs from a fantastic group of HBCU graduates and current students. So our host today will be Nicole Tinson, a native of South Central Los Angeles. Nicole is an HBCU, diversity and inclusion and civil rights advocate. She has learned to transform her pain into power and has made it her life's work to empower others along the way. Nicole is the founder and CEO of HBCU 20 by 20, a national diversity and inclusion company that connects HBCU students and alumni to jobs and internships. So I'm going to put the website up down here. You can check it out there. And so let's bring on Nicole. Hi.
Am I on? Hey, everyone. How are you? I'm not sure if anyone's in the comments or wanting to comment, but we are so excited to be here for TEENtastic Tuesdays, discussing HBCUs, the importance of HBCUs, and why you should consider attending an HBCU. I always like to share a little bit more about myself. So I attended an HBCU, Dillard University in New Orleans. I'm representing today. And when I think about my HBCU experience, I think about how transformative it was for me. Oftentimes, when you're in school and you're kind of trying to figure out what you want to do or what kind of path you want to take, it becomes a little bit difficult. There are over 4,000 colleges in the United States. So there's plenty of schools to pick from. And if you're in the Los Angeles area or even in the California region, there are so many CSUs and UCs just to think about and to take into consideration and to add into your research on where you want to go. And I always like to also talk about how I got to my HBCU. So there is something called the Black College Expo. They do these every year. They were founded by Dr. Teresa Price, but really she's intentional about making sure people within Southern California and just across the nation are truly aware of all of the HBCUs are out there. So I had the opportunity to actually attend a Black College Expo, and I was accepted on the spot to attend Dillard University. And for me, attending Dillard University really opened my horizons. I was involved on campus. I restarted the NAACP chapter, so I was the president there for 3 years, was on the dance team. I joined Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated while I was on campus, and maybe we'll talk a little bit more about Greek life on campus. And I brought Michelle Obama to be our commencement speaker. So there's that, but I was hyper involved on campus, and I think that having these kind of conversations where we're able to pull in current students as well as recent graduates and soon to be graduates into the conversation. That being said, I want to go ahead and start to bring up our panelists. If I can, I will share my screen. Let's see, we are sharing so that you all can see what I see. But before we do that, I do want everyone, if you can, to just drop one word in the chat to describe your week. How are you feeling? I know it's the second day of the week, but I do want to know how you all are feeling. And that'll help us kind of keep pulse of where we are with the conversation. So if you can do that, I'd be grateful for that. And we're pulling up our panelists. So our first panelist is Miracle Wright Lindo. She is a first-year student at Grambling State University. Miracle, hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next, we have Taylor Thibodeau, and she is a senior, if I'm not mistaken, at Howard University.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are things going on your end?
Everything is good. On my way out.
Hey, that's the spirit. Get in, get out. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, I'm sure. Next, we have Miss Tiara Moore, who is a student at Grambling State University. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And last but not least, we have Luke Loa. How are you, Luke?
Hey, how's it going? Great, man.
Everything is good. Everything is good. I can't complain too much. So I know that time is pretty limited today. So I want to go ahead and jump in and start asking you all questions. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay, and I want y'all to feel free to answer and however you feel moved. If you feel like, oh, that's me, I got to answer real quick first, go ahead and do that. We want this to be a real conversation. That being said, my first question for you all is, why did you decide to attend your HBCU? What led you there? How did you get there? Who told you about HBCUs? And again, how did you select the institution that you are currently at or you graduated from?
I guess I'll start. I don't know if you guys are gonna go. Well, actually, Taylor, do you want to take this one?
Okay, I will take it. So for me, I chose Howard. So my story dates all the way back to when I was a senior or a junior rather, and I'm an unconventional student right now. So I'm 27, still getting my undergrad and transferred in 2018. But in
never too late.
Never too late. Absolutely not. So back in high school, I was a part of a program in my at my high school called AVID. And our professor, or our teacher rather, took us on the Black College tour. And I couldn't go. I was the only one left out of my class, couldn't afford to go. But one of my best friends went, and she had applied to Howard. And she told me about her situation where I believe she got accepted on the spot. I can't remember. But I was like, ooh, Howard, what is that? What is that? So I did some research and I was like, oh, I want to apply to Howard. Applied, didn't get in, straight out of high school. But I took some time, dropped out of college, came back. And then I was like, well, something about Howard is still drawing me in. So I went to visit my best friend while she was still attending Howard during homecoming. And that is what took the cake for me. And also just walking on campus and talking to people there. They always talk about the history and who was on campus, and something about those stories spoke to me. So from 2015 on forward, I made it a mission that I was going to attend Howard. I was going to get my undergrad from Howard, and nobody is telling me nothing else.
It sounds like that, so Mary had a little lamb. No, thank you for sharing that story with you. For the teens that are watching and people that are just watching, we want you to always be mindful that everyone's trajectory will never be the same. Much like Taylor, I went to college and dropped out and then did the whole late registration and graduated from Dillard and then went to Yale for graduate school. So it's never too late to go after your dreams and whatever you're looking for. So thank you for reminding us of that, Taylor. Who wants to go next? Luke, are you going to take it? Miracle, are you going to take it?
I can go.
Okay.
So yes, I attend Grambling State University. I've always wanted to attend a HBCU. Like I will always watch, like, you know, how you see Battle of the Bands and stuff like that on, you know, YouTube. And I've just always been obsessed with like going to college and learning about a higher education. And with being from South Central LA, like we don't have any HBCUs in the city. And I always get so hurt about that because I would love to attend a college in my city, but my heart was at an HBCU. So I went around the time when I was applying for schools, I had been really, really looking into Grambling because I just felt like Grambling was a really good place for me to be. I felt like I'm a dual major. I dual in theater as well as history. And the history major program at the school is so amazing. So I just like, yes, I want to be at Grambling. Like I claimed that I really wanted to come here. So when I applied and I got in, I chose to come here.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, I'd ask you about the Bayou Classic, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, and that probably didn't happen as fall. Now, just for context, everyone, at HBCUs, football rivalries, band rivalries, just rivalries in general are huge. And Grambling plays against Southern every year in what's called the Bayou Classic. Takes place during Thanksgiving weekend. It is huge. When I say huge, it is huge. But Miracle missed that. She's a first-year student, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, so where everything is virtual now. But hopefully next year, maybe you'll be able to experience that. So thank you for sharing that. Hi, Tiara. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I apologize. We had a fire drill.
Oh, I understand. It looks like you're perfectly safe though. Fire, you look good, you ready, and that's all that matters. You safe. But right now we're talking about why we decided to attend our HBCUs in the spirit of still letting ladies go first. Tiara, can you tell us why you decided to attend your HBCU? And then we'll go to Luke next.
Okay, so for me, I'm actually a legacy. My mother graduated from Grambling State University. So I grew up always hearing her stories. And I was like, I want to go to an HBCU. I want to be around my people. So growing up, I did research. I did my presentations in middle school. And then it came down to the wire. My top three were Howard, Grambling, and North Carolina A&T. But I don't know, it was just something about speaking with all these Grambling alums, Grambling students. It was just the way they spoke about the school just made me just want to be a part of it. So now here I am.
Well, we're happy that you decided to make Grambling your choice. I'm not sure if you've connected with Miracle or if y'all are friends yet. No?
No, I've never seen her. We probably live on different sides of campus too.
Well,
we'll link up.
I got you.
And that's what the HBCU community is about. It's networking, linking up, and seeing where it goes. So that's exciting. Thank you for sharing that, Tiara. And last, we have Luke. Tell us why you attended Bowie State University, Luke.
So I don't even know where to start. One, I grew up all on the HBCU campuses. My mom went to Howard University, and I was going to homecoming when I was like 8. I used to hang out on Howard's campus, and just being around so many prolific African Americans has just always been enriched in my family culture. My dad went to Bowie State University, so it was always, dope for me to kind of go back and become a legacy. But I went to Bowie State for track. I joined our track team, and at Bowie State University, it changed my life. Like when I first stepped on campus, I realized how I was amongst leaders, amongst African Americans that just are so specific around creating change and just being very intentional about what they're looking for in their future. I was around teachers that looked like me, that was invested in me. My friends were invested in the same type of future. Like, just imagine, for my world, just looking at people that look like me, have similar goals, and that constantly invested in me was everything. I couldn't even imagine getting that same type of love anywhere else.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that that's something that's beautiful about attending HBCUs is really being able to find and identify like-minded people who will push you to go after your goals, and you can push them to go after their goals. And it's, again, really about building that community and network with each other. So that brings me to my next question. What's your favorite memory of your HBCU experience? So I know that Luke, you have plenty, and Taylor too, probably have plenty of experiences to pull from. And Miracle, I want to hear how your first semester was and how it's going currently for your second semester until Tiara comes back.
There's so much, man. Like, I don't even know where to start. To be honest, my most memorable moment is pledging Omega Psi Phi fraternity incorporated, the greatest fraternity on the planet. I think, when I first got introduced to Omega Psi Phi, I was probably like 9 years old at Howard University, and my mom, she was actually summa cum laude that year at Howard University during graduation, and she was given this like prolific speech during her graduation class in social work, and one of the Qs came late. And when he came late, he started barking because another Q had seen him come late, and then they just stopped and got up and just started dancing and hopping during the graduation. And I remember looking over to my mom, and I was just like, yo, they lit. Like, what are we doing? And then she's just like, when you get older, you can join them. And ever since then, like, I've just been following and circling cues and just realizing that that's just who I wanted to be. But it wasn't until I got on campus that I, was just fortunate enough to pledge the greatest fraternity on the planet. And, they changed me for the better, That was probably my greatest moment.
I can completely understand how joining an organization on campus can be a highlight. It was one of my highlights too. So thank you for sharing that and about the greatest fraternity on the planet. Taylor, how about you? What's your experience been like?
My experience has been great. I would say the most memorable as of right now would be when Kathy Hughes actually visited our school and did a whole panel style event. And as you know, the School of Communications is named after Kathy Hughes, and I'm a broadcast journalism major. So she did come and she visited, and it was just a great conversation, and it was moderated by a Howard student, one of which is a journalism student as well. And I remember her talking about her story of how she began in radio and how she got to where she was, how she was homeless, living out of her studio when she first purchased her property for a radio station. And just having someone who was that powerful in the same room, and she was so open and ready to answer questions from us as students. That was a very memorable experience for me. So that was one of my faves.
Thank you for sharing that. I wanted to make sure I was right, but just for context, everyone, Kathy Hughes is the founder of Radio One. So it's a really big deal. There aren't too many Black people in the United States who own radio stations. And she's one of those few. If you get a chance, dig in and research a little bit more about her. We'll make sure that it gets in the comments. But thank you for sharing that. I know that I've read personally about her story, and she's someone in business I also truly admire. So thank you for that and sharing that. And that's something else that's beautiful about the HBCU experience, the events that take place on campus. You never know who will be on campus or who you'll be able to connect and learn from. So that's cool. Tiara, what's been your favorite memory so far at Grambling State?
Oh, okay. So especially since I'm in the beginning process of making memories, I want to say my favorite one so far was actually first coming to the campus, because that was me starting my journey as a Grambling Tiger and then having my mom with me. Like, we did this journey together. So walking onto campus, being able to move in, like, some people may say that's like a little memory, but that was like the biggest one for me so far. Like, I just loved that.
I completely understand. I have a question for you though, because you went to Louisiana. What was it like transitioning and getting in hot and humid weather? Because I still remember the day I got to Dillard University. Well, first when I flew into Louis Armstrong Airport and then got to Dillard University and realized that I was sweating without doing anything. So what was that shift like for you?
I'm not foreign to Louisiana. So I used to visit out here during the holidays to see my family. So it was the weather transition. It wasn't too bad for me, but then actually having to live in it now, that was a bit of a change. Because at home, it's like, if we have heat, it's typically dry heat. Here, it's hot and kind of sticky. So.
No, I completely understand. And the sticky weather is a whole lot different than definitely, I'm pretty sure, what most of us are used to. So thank you for sharing that. And also your memory does matter. For context, everyone watching, at many of our HBCUs, they actually have kind of like closing ceremonies to the orientation where it's almost like a rite of passage. You're transitioning from being a high school student at home with your parents to really embarking on your own journey towards adulthood, getting through college, identifying what you like and what you don't like, figuring out what you want to do professionally. So, Tiara, I think that that's a special moment that a lot of people don't talk about, but those closing ceremonies or rites of passage events that a lot of HBCUs host for its first year students truly are special and memorable. And that brings me to Miracle, because you weren't too far away from getting on to GSU's campus. Can you tell us a little bit more about what your favorite memory has been so far?
Yeah, so yes, we are in the middle of a pandemic, so I haven't got to do, a lot of things involved with the school, but I will definitely say my favorite memory would have to be coming to the campus, because I was not able to get a tour due to the pandemic. Right on my tour date, they actually said that they were, that it's officially Corona, we're wearing masks, we're not going anywhere, staying inside, so they canceled. But just like Tiara coming onto campus and moving in, and my best friend actually came with me as a surprise. I didn't know she was coming, and she came with me and helped me move in, and it was just so exciting to move in my dorm room and meet my roommate and become friends with her. Me and my roommate are great friends now, and just being on campus and seeing people that look like me, act like me, talk like me, dress like me, and just absorbing the HBCU experience without even having classes yet. Just moving in, I just felt like, yes, I feel like I'm home. This is my second home, even with the heat, because we moved in. Even with the heat.
No, absolutely. I think that Welcome Week experiences that a lot of HBCUs have really provide that opportunity for you to connect with people. You'll meet people from Nebraska. Yes, there are people from Nebraska who actually attend HBCUs. You'll meet people from Miami and New York and LA and DC and everywhere in between. And it's just interesting because you do get to connect with so many people who truly appreciate the culture that you're a part of. And it also provides you a way for you to learn about new cultures, because there's a lot of diversity on HBCU campuses as well. So thank you all for answering that question. My next question for you all is, what's your favorite thing about your HBCU? So I know that for me at Dillard, we have the Oaks. And it's literally it's about half a mile of oak trees on a lawn. And we're taught that you don't touch the lawn, you don't touch the trees, you leave that all alone until you graduate. And if you put your foot on the lawn, you ain't graduating on time. So even like that concept of, oh, I'm a just look at the oaks and love them from a distance until my 4 years come or are over, and then I can put my feet on them was a thing. So what's your favorite part of your HBCU? It could be the food that you eat, it could be the people, the buildings. What is it?
I guess I'll go first. Honestly, I like the family environment that Grambling has. Is even if you come in not knowing people, everybody is so open to knowing each other, or just so welcoming that you meet them one day and it feels like you've known them for years. Like Gram fam is literally Gram fam. And I just really like that. Like my friends, I love them. And I can't wait to continue my relationship with people, continue to network, and just go from there.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that closeness where you can develop family members or people that are like family on campus is unique. And like you said, I have heard Gram fam before. So that must be something that's really unique to you all's college experience. So thank you for sharing that. Who wants to go next?
I can go. My favorite part about Howard is that the professors on campus really don't allow you to not execute anything without excellence. Especially when you're working within your major. Like, professors are so invested in what you're doing because they want you to succeed so bad that they're like, I need you to come into my office hours. And you go in there, you have a conversation, you leaving out crying because you're like, my life is in shambles. This is why I can't turn in this assignment, or I didn't do it properly. Like, they really care about you succeeding after you leave college. It's not just about what you do in their classroom, but how you perform in their classroom is how you're going to perform when you go into the workforce. So they're really invested in how you execute anything. And not only that, I did, like, one of my favorite professors that I had at Howard, she was in the African American Studies department. And she was one of the professors that's like, we need to pray as a class pray over this semester. This is actually, ironically, the semester we had COVID, but she prayed over the class, like, and she was just super spiritual. And she was like, if you ever need anything, come to me. Like, they're very much hands-on with their students. And I didn't have that when I went to my junior college, and just walking into that environment and having professors be so invested was a shocker to me. And that's one of the aspects that I love about Howard, is that they don't let you fail.
I think that when I think about many people's HBCU experience, they tend to talk about the professors and the faculty members and staff who were truly invested in their well-being. So tidbit for everyone watching, whether you're in high school now or you're applying to college and getting ready to go to college, build relationships with your teachers and professors. Those are the people that can recommend opportunities for you, that will look out for you. If you build and establish a rapport with your professors, when something happens, if you're feeling sick one day, they know that you missed class because you were sick, not because you were just trying to get away or do whatever you wanted to do. And they'll trust you. So I always tell people, build relationships with somebody. Walk away with someone that can advocate for you, write letters of recommendation for you, because it's truly important. Miracle, how about you? What's your favorite thing so far about Grambling State University?
My favorite thing so far is definitely being able to be on campus, because with the COVID thing, we definitely had the option to stay home and just complete classes strictly online. But I appreciate being on campus and being able to meet people in the administration that could probably later help me on in life. You never know who you're going to need when you get a job and they ask you for a recommendation letter. There's always somebody that I could go back to and ask. And I feel like I've made really great relationships with some of the people that are in the administration at the school. And I think that's probably most definitely my favorite part, because you also look at me, so understanding where I'm coming from.
Absolutely. I think that when I think about the importance of just building out your network on campus with people, it's something unique. And I always, just a quick story, I went to Yale for graduate school, as I mentioned. I never had any of that when I was at Yale. It was my HBCU experience that provided something different, that made me think about my professional career and what I wanted to do and how I needed to get prepared for that. So it's unique. It's something that HBCUs provide that I personally haven't seen anywhere else. I'm not sure if Luke is still here. Did he come back? Hey, Luke.
Hey, sorry, I don't know what's wrong. My thing is messing up.
It's all good. We just want to know what's your favorite thing about your HBCU experience?
Homecoming. I mean, I thought somebody was going to say it. I was just sitting here like, okay, y'all not going to say this. Just being able to connect with the alumni and rejoice, and being in school spirit is just amazing for me. The whole week is always memorable. I feel like I've gone to every homecoming since I was able to go. So homecoming has always been number one for me.
Absolutely. And for the viewers, homecoming is an experience. So it's beyond the Beyonce Netflix documentary /show /concert /cultural staple, but it's really how you engage with the people on campus. So the concept of homecoming is alumni from HBCUs going back to what they call their home. Much to what we talked about, HBCU culture and community being much like family. It's the same thing. We go home, you'll see tents up. It's usually around a rival football game, but the food, the events, the parties, when you're 18 and 21, are amazing at homecoming. So thank you for bringing that up. If you get a chance, look more into the homecoming culture at HBCUs. It's really, really phenomenal and really, really big. And much to Luke's point, I lost count of how many homecomings I went to. Dillard is a small school, so we don't have a huge homecoming, but Howard's, North Carolina A&T calls their homecoming the greatest homecoming on earth. So it's huge. So thank you for mentioning that part. We couldn't have this conversation without talking about that. My next question for you all is, how do you know what HBCU is right for you, and how did you figure that out? I know that, I think it was Tiara, you mentioned that it was a legacy decision for you. But how did you personally know that was the right decision for you?
So actually that wasn't really what made my decision. I mean, yes, it was like a partial factor because like it's an honor to be able to go where your parent went, but just being able to talk to people, like I was able to get connected with administration and staff here, as well as talking to my cousins who have gone here. Like just hearing all the stories about how amazing Grambling, is. And then obviously academics, I'm going to look into the technicals of things. And each program that I'm in, because I'm a double major, so I'm doing accounting as well as mathematics. Both programs are good here. So that was also something where I'm like, okay, good school environment, good academics, and then it's not too big, it's not too small. It just seemed like the right fit. And sadly, like just like Miracle, I couldn't come to visit the campus. I was supposed to come during spring break, but they said the virus, everything shut down, school's closing, but I'm glad I made the decision that I made.
Thank you for sharing that. And as for the viewers watching, as you begin to think about where you want to go for school, don't do your research. Do your research and decide what works best for you. So if you're passionate, for example, like Tiara, about math and accounting, and you're thinking forward about what happens once I leave, and you know that that institution does a great job in placing people into jobs once they graduate in your field, definitely take that school and put it high on your list. So make that checklist of what you're looking for and identify schools that fit that. So thank you for sharing that. How about you, Miracle? I think you talked about it a little bit earlier, but what was the final decision that made you say, I'm going to Grambling?
So I'm a first generation college student, well, university student, I should say. And I really liked the fact that Grambling, they're very considerate during the application process, as well as after the application process. When you are accepted into the school, they're always emailing, they're always making sure that you've applied for everything you needed to do, such as housing and extra scholarships or funding that they may have at the time. And around the time I was very conflicted in between like 3 schools, but I don't know what it was about Grambling that just felt so right with me coming here. And especially with them reaching out and being like, hey, this deadline's coming up, make sure you're on time for filling that out. And after I completed everything, I was like, yeah, Grambling is definitely the place that I want to be.
Thank you for sharing that. That's helpful just to know that. I think that when it comes to kind of like nailing down or narrowing down which institutions you want to go to, I think that communication does matter. And it's clear that Grambling went above and beyond to make sure that you were taken care of before and after. And that's something else that matters. So to those viewers out there, pay attention to those kind of cues to how people are engaging with you when you're going to the school. At the end of the day, you become your school's biggest asset, because once you graduate, you go into the real world with your institution's name on your resume and kind of on your back. And you want to make sure you go somewhere where it's a mutually beneficial relationship, where you'll be taken care of. And once you graduate, you'll take care of your institution. And we'll talk maybe a little bit about the importance of giving back to your school once you graduate. Maybe we'll talk to Luke about that. But since we're at Luke, how did you end up at Bowie State? I know that you said your mom was at Howard, and Bowie isn't too far. And just for context, everyone, there are quite a few HBCUs in Maryland. It's Bowie State University, Morgan State, University of Maryland at Eastern Shore. And I'm not sure if I'm forgetting any other HBCUs in Maryland. But how did you?
Coppin State is in Maryland.
Coppin State, yes.
And UDC is right down the street. It's close to Howard. But I mean, for me, like I kind of picked them. I mean, they're all phenomenal. I think everyone has a personal preference. But when you actually step on one of the HBCU campuses, you'll probably realize really, really quickly that every campus has the same HBCU spirit, you'll start to realize the sense of camaraderie for every campus is unique, nothing like you've ever experienced. And it becomes personal preference. What are you more comfortable with? The location, the cost, what type of programs are at the different HBCUs. I'm a big advocate for all HBCUs. When I was an undergrad, I started a media company called HBCU Buzz for all historically Black colleges and universities. So for me, I'm advocating for all of them. Any campus that you step on, I definitely feel like, you know, they're all relevant in some way or some fashion. I'm not going to get into the whole argument of Hampton versus Howard or Southern versus Grambling. I'm not going to get into the fight of all that, but I definitely am a big advocate for all of them. I think the biggest thing for me, especially for all the students out there looking to attend HBCUs, is just go on a tour. Go attend one. Just step on campus. Call people. Call HBCU, but let us know what you're interested in. Follow us. Look at a page. You get real insight on what's going on some of these campuses. And on our website, you can look at some of our news articles that explain some of the, you know, all the tree falling in the woods that are going on in our community. So I think, you know, for me, there was nothing specific that made me choose Bowie before I got to Bowie, but I'm a big advocate for all.
And thank you for sharing that. And I think the link just popped up, but make sure you check out HBCU Buzz. I think that even throughout my tenure at Dillard University, I used to love reading HBCU Buzz so much that Luke let me write for HBCU Buzz. So check out some of my things that I got to contribute to the website too. By the way, thank you. I don't think I ever publicly thank you. So thank you, Luke, because I think that might have been like my first time like writing for a company like ever. So it's amazing. And like much to what Luke said, there are so many great resources. You learn a lot about HBCU culture. You can see events, participate in events, and their social media page is pretty poppin'. I'm not sure if y'all say that anymore, but it's pretty lit. I don't know if y'all say that anymore, but either way, check it out. It's really, really good content, and you will really, really learn a lot about not only just like the HBCUs you hear about a lot, but truly all of the HBCUs that are out there. So thank you, Luke, for sharing that. And then Taylor, why did you, I know that you had a career transition and you consider yourself kind of a I think you said non-traditional student, but how did you end up at Howard? I know that you had in your mind in the beginning that I'm gonna go to Howard. You didn't get in at first, but then you tried again and you got in. So what was it about Howard that drew you to it, that made you say, I have to be there?
So I'm not sure, like Luke, I'm not sure if there was a defining moment for me at that point. I was more so looking at like the Turner vibe because I had visited during homecoming and kind of talked to everybody. And I'm like, ooh, I love it here. And, you know, I love that there was natural hair and all that because you don't see that every day in LA. But I think when I was on Howard's campus, it kind of did like a full circle moment. And I realized like people like Leslie Foster, who is an anchor here in DC for a news outlet, and people like Aisha Rocco, who is also a journalist here in DC that was a White House correspondent. When I look at people like that, and I'm also in journalism, I make the connection like these people were in my same shoes. And that's what mattered to me for why I chose Howard and why that was kind of like the signifying moment, like, wow, like legends really walk these halls the same way I am, and I'm going in the same path that they are. So, yeah, that's what I kind of looked at when I went to Howard as well. I was, as I got older, I started to detach myself from the party vibe, and I'm like, well, Howard is prestigious and it's very well known, and I'm the first person in my family to go to college and graduate and actually finish and do this thing. So why not go to what was sold to me as the best of the best? Because I had no idea outside of Southern University, other HBCUs at the time. So I was like, why not go to the best of the best? And, you know, Howard is, and Howard is that, and Howard is this. So that's what I pretty much looked into when I went to Howard and then had my full circle moment.
Hey, I'm not mad at all. And that's an excellent reason to choose an institution, just based off of legacy. And when you think about Howard, you think about the first Black Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall, who also attended Howard University's Howard's Law School. And just how monumental Taraji P. Henson, Ta-Nehisi Coates, like the list goes on of like dope people who have attended and graduated Howard University. So thank you for that. I want to see if you all might have any questions in the audience before I ask the panel one last question. So if you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the comments. I know that this is streaming, I believe, on Facebook and YouTube. So if we can pull any of those questions that might be coming in that I can't see, that would be amazing. But we want to see if you all have any questions, because I really do want this panel to be educative, where you can really learn and ask the questions that you may not have a chance to ask anyone. And I'm pretty sure everyone may be willing to share how you can get in contact with them if you have specific questions for them as well. So we can work with the LA Public Library on getting their contact information over to you. But as I wait for questions, I want to ask just one last question. Why should the viewers consider attending an HBCU? If you had like 140 characters or maybe 240 to say, this is why you should go to an HBCU, what would you say?
I'll go.
Oh.
I would pretty much tell them, first of all, you're not going to have an experience like this ever at any other kind of college, period. You're not going to have professors pour into you. The friends that you're going to meet, you're going to learn so much more about yourself rather than on the surface level. You're going to meet lifelong friends. And on top of that, you're going to learn to embrace who you are as a Black individual in this world. And that goes to say, as me as an example, I used to have straight hair, wear weaves, and zhuzhed up, and I completely did my big chop. And big chop came from, being on campus and watching Black women walk in their power and not allow their hair to own them, but they own their hair. So that's one of the many facets, but you're going to learn so much about yourself, your history, where you're from, who you are, and you're really going to have a sense of pride for being Black and in society, and you're going to learn about community and other things, and you're not going to have that experience anywhere else besides an HBCU.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that there is nothing like that. Cantu is not good for your hair, but if you do wear it, it's a lot of that on HBCU campuses. Let me stop. All right. Miracle, how about you? And by the way, that wasn't a Twitter a tweet. That was more of a Facebook post, but we gonna let it ride.
I love it. Definitely, I would tell people that they should attend an HBCU because, like you guys are both saying, you're gonna be surrounded in a space where you feel comfortable. Like that, you don't have to wear your hair a certain way if you don't want to. Whether I'm wearing a weave or my natural afro, like I'm protected in a space that I can do that, and nobody is telling me that my hair is unprofessional in any type of way. I'm not objectified to being because I'm Black. I'm this, or I'm a token child or a poster child for an institution that doesn't really respect us as a collective, as a people. With being at an HBCU, everybody is treated the same. Everybody is treated like a family. And you don't get that at any other type of school because the people do not look like you, so they can't understand where you come from. It's better to be in a space where you guys have similar stories with each other and meeting lifelong Black friends, meeting lifelong Black people that you're gonna connect later in life and be like, remember when we did that at our HBCU? Like a lot of people won't be able to say that. So yes, definitely attend an HBCU. And if you would like to attend Grambling, you should, you most definitely should. But
Wait a
yes,
minute, we plugging now?
yes, we plugging. You know,
Thank you.
have to.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that that's real. Being able to be around people who can understand your struggle, your trials, your tribulations, who get it, and won't probably try and touch your hair. So I think that matters. Tiara, how about you? What would you have to say to someone? Why should they attend an HBCU?
I mean, Taylor and Miracle are hitting it on the nail, but there's nothing like being around your people, like Black people uplifting Black people. That's the best thing. Like, you're not going to be looked at as a statistic. I'm sorry. You're not going to be undermined. They're not going to overlook you. You're being looked at for your talent, for your knowledge. Everything that you do, it's like you're going to be recognized for it. The people, amazing. Everybody has their own story, own background, but we all are from the same culture. The cultural similarities, everybody's stuff. And honestly, even if you are not Black, because I don't know who our viewers are, even if you're not Black, I say come to an HBCU, experience a different culture, learn something that you maybe wouldn't learn at UCLA or NYU or wherever you choose to go. HBCU experience is one unlike any other. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's certainly helpful to note. And as you mentioned, like I said, there's a lot of diversity on HBCU campuses. There's so much beauty in being around Blackness, and really connecting with people. So there's an excellent opportunity to also learn and immerse yourself in a culture different than yours. So thank you for bringing that up, Tiara. And my last person, Luke, Twitter.
It's so hard to go last. I feel like I said
I know. Go ahead. Say what you got to say.
Honestly, there's so much. You're more than a number. You're a member of an actual community. You're going to learn more about the Black diaspora at an HBCU than you would ever learn anywhere. I'm trying to think. There's literally like thousands, long-lasting friendships, being able to actually create a legacy. The social environment is impeccable. You can't, like, there's no thing like it. Strong network for alumni. We go hard for our community, period. Recognizing your worth as an African American, you don't really recognize that until you actually step on the HBCU campus. Yeah, that's all I got for y'all. I mean, I'm just getting emotional thinking about it.
I was just listening. This sounds like one of those TikTok videos, by the way. Y'all still haven't figured out TikTok, where it'd be like the people, the food, the culture, everything. The professors, I love it though, because it is so many different things. By the way, that's a little content drop for somebody out there. If you want to, help boost HBCU and enrollment on TikTok, do one of those for me. I don't know how, but let's get that out there, because there are so many great things and great reasons to truly attend an HBCU. I know that I saw a few questions. Are all HBCUs public or private? Are scholarships available? So that's an excellent question. Some HBCUs are public and some are private. So it really just depends. For example, Dillard University is a private HBCU in Louisiana. If I'm not mistaken, Grambling State University is a public HBCU in Louisiana. So it just varies, and there are plenty of scholarships available. I think the most important thing to the viewers, I want you all to take this for real serious, is apply for scholarships. HBCU 20 by 20 is partnered with companies and organizations, and a lot of pain points a lot of companies come to us with the students don't apply for scholarships. There's a lot of money designated, especially for the HBCU community. There are organizations like the UNCF and the Thurgood Marshall College Fund that are also out there. Check out Scholarly.com. HBCU Buzz shares scholarship opportunities, but there's plenty of money. Don't let money be the barrier to why you don't attend college, but also make sure you just apply. Get that one personal statement that works or that one essay that works and reuse it over and over and over again. Just an insight hack. One of my favorite hustles in undergrad was applying for scholarships because I ended up getting extra money. So you apply for enough to pay for your tuition and room and board, then you apply for some extra so that you have some extra cash. So it was always beautiful being that person on campus with extra money in my pocket, just off of my academic rigor and my talent and my ability to write a simple essay to give me an extra $1,000 or an extra $10,000, just depending on what was there. And then I saw, are there study abroad opportunities at HBCUs? That's an excellent question. Some HBCUs do have study abroad programs. I ask that you do your research, but don't let, if there's not a program there, that be the barrier, because you can always figure out how to make it happen. And that's the beauty about HBCUs. You can approach your dean or your professor of your head of college and just say, hey, I'm interested in going to Spain or South Africa and being in Cape Town for a semester. How can we go about making that happen? And I've seen it even at my HBCU, how they put together a plan to get the students there. So I know that I wanted to answer those questions. I know that we're cutting it on time. So if you all can just share one word, not 10, not 100, not 20, but one about your experience just speaking to the teens, part of TEENtastic Tuesdays today. What did this moment mean for you as we log out?
I'll go. A one word to describe this.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is, I know this is not like really like a descriptive word, but needed, because I always love talking to people about why they should go to a HBCU. I always try to encourage my friends that are, graduating, like, go to HBCU. You can't get this experience anywhere else. So yeah, very needed.
Needed. Okay.
She took my word. I was going to say necessary. But I definitely think this is very necessary. I'm a big advocate for HBCUs, so anytime I get to just kind of promote that, it's phenomenal.
Thank you. Needed, necessary.
I would say motivated. Just having this conversation with everyone, listening to their stories about why they chose their HBCU, and knowing that we're potentially feeding someone else's mind to go to an HBCU kind of motivates me, because I love the feeling of, serving someone else and then being on the same accord with people who are like-minded. So this is a very motivating conversation and got me ready to go finish this homework tonight. I'm ready to go.
I know, that's right. Take care. She said I'm almost out the door. So I get it. Thank you for that. Motivated, needed, necessary, motivated, and then Tiara.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, I see Patsy in the comments. I'm gonna take their word. They said inspiring. Because just like everybody said, there's so much, everything, like hearing their stories, that's helping inspire me to do more. And just already being here, I want to just do better. Like, I'm already doing good here, but I want to just do better. So yeah.
I feel that. I really, really do. And I think that's something that's beautiful about the HBCU experience is it's you striving to be your best self each and every day. And even once you graduate, continuing that excellence that your HBCU instilled in you. Again, I want to thank the Los Angeles Public Library for inviting us to be a part of TEENtastic Tuesdays. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, who will watch it later. And most importantly, thank you to our panelists. I think that I really appreciate all of the jewels and the nuggets that you have imparted on all of us. And this really served as a reminder of how beautiful the HBCU culture is, how dynamic our community is, and all the amazing things that we're doing. So thank you all for participating in this panel. Thank you, Katie, for inviting us to participate. I think that you're coming on to close us out officially.
Yes, thank you all. This was just so amazing. And I hope those of you at home who are, considering about where you want to go to college, that this was helpful for you. I'm just going to throw a couple plugs in. Again, HBCU 20 by 20 with Nicole. We have HBCU Buzz. And then LAPL, we have our Get Ready for College portal. So now you're like inspired and you're ready to apply, but you need to take your ACT, SAT. You need to, learn about financing and how to write your essay. All of that is for free on our website that I just linked below. So thank you all. And please join us next week for another fantastic program for teens. So thanks all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.